What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is your review for Chasing Dallas Season 2 Reunion Part 1. Now, I'm cool with it being 2 parts, but they said it's going to be 3. Okay. So, before I get started, I want to say that y'all know how I love Miss Amani Van Zap. Y'all know how I have been riding for Amani all season. So, I was definitely happy to see her as the host. I campaigned for it. I know the whole Justice League campaigned for it. And if you don't know who the Justice League is, make sure you check out other Justice League members. Abby Reviews, The Cast Me Out, Mr. Still Standing, Giving You the Real Tea, Pt1, and Yes Bitch TV. We all review the show. We are the Justice League. We've been doing interviews all season, so please go back into the archives and check all of those interviews out. You might get some tea that you didn't get tonight, but I ain't saying that. You ain't heard it from me. Now, with that being said, my only criticism, Miss Van Zap, is I think you did a really great job with the hosting. My only criticism as a viewer was there were times when you asked one person a question, somebody else intervened, and then that conversation would go way left, and we never got back to the original question. And that happened a couple of times, and I was like, but I want to know the answer. Like, I never got the answer to the question because I thought the question was a good question, but then I was like, but we never got the, so we just gonna pretend like that didn't. Oh, we just not going to answer that question. Okay, we're going to move on. You know what I mean? But other than that, you know, I enjoyed you, and I look forward to seeing how things went down with part 2. And I guess it's a part 3? I don't know. So, definitely enjoyed that. Myself and Every Reviews were going to come to actually, the original date for the reunion, the whole Justice League was trying to come. We were trying to make a whole moment out of it. But with everything going on with Rona and stuff, and them having to postpone it, and us not knowing what the dates were and all that good stuff, when they did reschedule it and we got that information, by that time I went and looked at airfare, and you would think that the airfare would have been cheap, but it actually wasn't. And so it just wasn't feasible. But I really wish I had been able to come. I really was looking forward to meeting the guys and meeting Miss Ariel of Versace. Anyway, so that's what that was. I'm rambling. Anyway, so if I had to give a best dress, which of course no one asked me, but if I had to give a best dress, I definitely have to give it to Miss Ariel and her unicorn look. I loved that dress. I could definitely see that look. I could definitely see that moment on a runway, at a prom. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice. Ariel looked really nice. Very statuesque, honey. Yes. I enjoyed Markel's look, and I enjoyed Carrie's look. I thought Carrie's look was very simple. I think the theme in the beginning was originally everybody was going to wear white, so it looks like Markel and Carrie were kind of still doing the white thing with a little splash of color. I loved Markel's jacket. If you saw it up close, you go to his Instagram, it had the jacket had like a design on it. It was really nice with that pop of pink. I thought it looked nice. And then, like I said, Carrie had that whole Miami Vice, you know, white suit with the little t-shirt look going. I loved the blonde. I loved the color. You was giving us a little something different. But anyway, so yeah, that's me. That's what I love. Now let me go through these notes, y'all. Listen, this might not take long because it's a reunion. None of my reunion shows reviews take long because we're regurgitating everything we already talked about. And honestly, it wasn't a whole lot of new information that. How do I say this? Because, see, I have to be very careful on how I word certain things because I have to be careful. I'm going to just leave that there. There was just a lot of things that, it wasn't a lot of new information to me. So, in the beginning, I am going to say this. From the very beginning, I felt like Womack was sitting over there on that couch being real shady, and I'm not understanding why he was shading Carrie. Amani started off asking Carrie D about his new single, which, again, make sure y'all go get it. Blow Your Mind, Roommate. Check it out. Download it. Y'all get it. It's everything. And he said they get ready to drop another single, and they have some other projects that they're working on, some other artists that they're working with. And Womack was sitting on the couch rolling his eyes and sighing and everything. And I was like, now, throughout the whole season, I never remember Womack and Carrie having any issues, so where's that shade coming from? Like, I would have expected to see him get that shade from other areas, but I was trying to figure out where he got that shade from. But whatever, Womack, you said 5 words the whole episode anyway, so I don't know what that was about. Then we had to rehash the whole Cain versus George situation. Listen. At the end of the day, and I have grown to appreciate George. Y'all know I started off and I was giving George a side eye. Y'all know I've been up and down with George, but honestly, I really have grown to like George. I really have. But I also feel like George was being fucking shady. I do. And y'all know I ain't trying to agree with Cain or nothing. But I do feel like the whole what do you do, and to be by itself it's not shady. But when you add in the fact that George had met Cain in other areas and like they followed each other on Instagram, I just don't believe that George didn't know what he did. I think George didn't. I think George doesn't think that he does what he does well, or he doesn't respect what he does. But I think George know what the hell that man does. Um, but I also agree with the fact that if the question was asked of everyone, why couldn't the question be thrown back at Cain? If Cain asked everybody, well, what is it that everybody does? And y'all went around the room, then I don't understand the issue with throwing it back. Whatever. Also, the whole multiple streams of income thing. Listen, let me tell y'all one thing that I have an issue with. See, the review gonna be long because I'm gonna be rambling for a minute. My issue is this: why do we turn something that's a positive into something that's shade? So when George says he has multiple streams of income, it's a joke. It's a punchline. Why is that funny? We all should be having multiple streams of income. Warren Buffett said it. Warren Buffett said it. Now, if I'm going to listen to anybody, I'm going to listen to something Warren Buffett said. And Warren Buffett said we should have 5 to 6. I want to say he said 9, but don't quote me on the amount. But I know he said we're supposed to have multiple streams of income. And that's what I'm working on in my own personal life. So for George to be like, yeah, I have multiple streams of income, and he doesn't choose to disclose all of them. See, he came on the show with his agenda, whether you like it or not. He came on the show and he said, listen, I do have a 9 to 5, but part-time I do the mortuary business. I do the funeral home business, and that's the business that I'm going to share publicly. Now, I'm sure if there was an off-camera moment, he would have probably rolled the whole thing out to Cain. Well, look, I do this, I do that, I do this, I sell mixtapes out the trunk. I do detailed cars. I work here Monday through Friday. I work here Saturday and Sunday, and I do funerals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he probably would have laid it out, but I think that he had made a decision about what he was willing to publicly put on this platform when he decided to do a reality show. I can't be mad at him about it. But at the same time, for them to turn that into like a punchline pissed me off. And you know what really pissed me off the most? Is when we found out that at the game night, which George told us when we interviewed him, but when we found out at the game night that George apologized to Cain, Cain accepted his apology, and we moved on. Y'all put way too much into these green screens. If you know you had a conversation with somebody one-on-one, and then you see, y'all know that the green screens are all about creating a moment. Y'all know that they expect to see the shade. Y'all know they expect to see all of that in the green screen. So, Cain, if George had already apologized to you and y'all had already hashed it out, why 10 months later when you saw the green screen, now all of a sudden you got an issue? That's the shit that pisses me off about this. And it's not just this show. It's reality shows, period. Anyway, Dior, I wrote in my notes, Dior about who is Cain. I think, I want to say Dior and Cain sort of had a moment because Dior was like he did know who Cain was because he had done Cain's hair or something like that. So he knew who Cain was or something. It was something dealing with. I put it in my notes, so I must have thought it was important, but I don't remember what it was now. Sorry, y'all. Marquel and Ricci. So Marquel and Ricci had this whole come to Jesus moment where Ricci still wasn't ready to really rehash with Marquel. And fix it. I think Amani did a really good job. She was really giving me some Iyanla Van Zant moments. Iyanla Van Zant moments. Anyway, she was giving me some real moments because I feel like she was really, it was almost like it was just the two of them for a few minutes, and she really was trying to get them to talk to each other and to try to fix their shit. at the end of the day, Ricci said he wasn't really ready to hash it. Now, what I thought was interesting was when Marquel and Ricci were talking, they were talking in code. They didn't want to really put it out there what exactly what the issue was that had happened. Marquel acted like he was kind of really in the dark and he really didn't understand where did we go wrong. Okay, sorry. Nope, not doing that. Okay. But I found it interesting that Cain, at a certain point, turned to Womack and said, they talking about you. Which brings me back to the whole rumor that Womack and Ricci had a little something going on. Whatever. However, whoever. Anyway, so they never really, we didn't get any real resolution in that moment. But I hope that they're able to sit down and at a certain point work it out, because I really, really enjoyed Marquel and Ricci, and I saw two people that were really hurt, and I saw a real friendship that had got ruined through whatever shenanigans of this show. Ricci said it was private stuff, but I also feel like it was stuff connected to the show that caused the breakdown of the friendship. So I really, praying, I'm pulling for both of y'all. Okay, y'all know I love both of y'all. Okay. Then we had the conversation about the transgender situation with Ariel, Dior, and they talked about the death of the transgender woman from earlier in the season. Is it Malika? Malika's not right, and I don't want to be disrespectful and say her name wrong. But we spoke about it on the show. Booker. I know Booker was the last name, and I apologize, y'all. It really just went out my head. Ariel was very upset, and she really could not. They wanted to, I guess, talk more about this woman and her life. Dior was able to speak on it because he knew, I believe they had a relation, they knew each other, and he has transgender children, and they spoke on, what is it that you tell your transgender children? And something that Dior said that I really appreciate, he said, listen, I can't tell them what to do. I can only tell them to be safe. Because here's the thing. I think, and this even goes back to the fight, I think we put way too much emphasis on that title of these are his children and he's the father. Yes, these are his gay children. He has a gay house, and there are certain, never been in a household, pardon my ignorance if I'm speaking out of turn. But I do think that you are, at the end of the day, dealing with adults who are going to make their own decisions. What you can only hope is that you are giving them enough support. You're giving them enough information, and that you're giving them the support that they need to make the right decisions. If they choose to go out here and make bad decisions, then you just pray. You pray, and he said that, and I can appreciate that. He said, listen, they brought up the comments that Ariel made about the police and stuff. I'm not going to rehash all of that. I still feel the way I feel. What she did say, though, was that she was upset that people could not see past her words and understand the pain from which they came from. And I think I always understood the pain from which they came from. I did. If y'all go back to my reviews, and you'll hear what I said, that I didn't like what she said, but I had a bigger issue with production for putting it in the show, because I did understand that it was coming from an emotional place. I did understand that she was in the midst of it. When we interviewed her, she explained to us that when they filmed that, literally, they just got the information. So it was very raw. It was raw. And I feel like it was negligent on the part of production to allow that scene to be in there. I'm all about a shock moment. I get that you're creating a show, but those comments, I understood the pain where they were coming from. We have all said things in pain. We've threatened people's lives. We've threatened physical harm. We've done all of those things. But I would like to think that in the midst of my darkest moment, that someone with a cooler head would make a decision for me that I would appreciate at the end of the day. Ariel, if you are watching this, which I know you watch some of my reviews, I hope that you understand that I always understood your pain. I can't say I understand it from your perspective because I'm not in your shoes, but I understood the pain. I just felt I always put more on production for being responsible for not putting that out there. Anyway, So anyway, I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I'm sorry if I'm being redundant. Okay, then we had this whole thing with the fight. Y'all already know I'm not doing that, right? Y'all know I'm not going to sit here and spend any time on this fight. All I am going to say about all that happened and the conversation that went down about this fight, all I am going to say is I believe Dior. That's all I'm going to say. Trey Howard ain't say nothing. And part of it was they kept cutting him off, but the other part of it was he really didn't want to say nothing. So when they cut him off, he let them cut him off. He was not being. And my thing is, you the one that was fighting, but whatever. Then they brought out Trey Howard, and Trey Howard came in on go. I guess he was mad when he got there. They were talking about the fact that even though Trey Howard's name was on the sheet to come to the party, Trey Howard quit the show 5,000 times, and his name has been on sheets a million times, and he never came. So they didn't necessarily know Trey was going to be at the party, whatever. Like I said, I'm not rehashing all of that. I'm just reading my notes. I want to make sure I said what I felt must have been important at the time. They did play this unheard audio. I don't know who that audio was. I don't know what that audio was. I don't know what the fuck it was supposed to prove. And like I said, I believe Dior. So, yeah, it was something else I was gonna say to that, but I don't remember now, so I don't care. And that's it, y'all. That's what I got. At the end, we ended the episode with Trey Howard and Ricci they were on a break, and something must have escalated during the break, honey. And they ended up having to pull Trey Howard out the daggone venue. He out on the street hollering. Him and Ricci going back and forth. Like I said, I feel like Trey Howard came in on go. He was ready to go. And that goes back to my other review when him and Ricci got into it, and I felt like he was disrespectful. I still feel like he's disrespectful. I still feel like, I mean, the reunion is a place to hash things out, but like I said, I feel like he came in on go. They said they put him behind, I feel like he was upset with the fact that he wasn't sitting on the couch or sitting amongst the rest of the cast. He was sort of sitting behind the cast. Which I'm sure was done strategically. It was done to piss you off. You took the bait. You responded. He made a big deal about the fact that Ricci had a dressing room. Nobody else had a dressing room. He didn't even give his dressing room to the lady who, had to, actually put on a dress. He was talking about Ariel. But even with that, I don't have a problem with that either. If there was only one dressing room and I'm the EP, fuck it, I'm giving it to myself too. So anyway, that's what it was, y'all. So let me know what y'all think. Y'all drop it in the comments. Peace. We'll be here next week for part 2, child. We'll get to part 2, child.